A few years ago, I had a date with a nasty woman. Of course, I didn't realize she was a nasty woman, right? We went out to lunch. And it was like a weekend thing or something like that. And we went to lunch. I had some drinks, had a great steak lunch, I believe. And it went well. It must have been a weekend. I walked her to her car. And at her car, I gave her a kiss. And she seemed at the time to be into it. I was certainly into it. And, I closed the door for her and watched her drive away. And I even paid for the valet. And I watched her drive away, and I figured, I'll hear from her in I don't know, 2-3 days, something like that. But I didn't hear from her in the next day or 2 days or 3 days after that. And by the fourth day, I was like, what the fuck, right? The date had been successful. And so I thought to myself, what's going on? I mean, I'd noticed that she was charming. She was gorgeous. She was like, I guess about 5'7", 5'8", blonde, cute, my type. And she was, she had like an edge to her, which made her very intriguing, right? She had like an edge. You know what I'm talking about, right? She wasn't all soft and cuddly and, and passive aggressive. She was a little bit, okay? So anyway, I thought that maybe in 2-3 days she would call me or text me because the date had been successful. But by the fourth day, instead of, taking the hint and realizing, of course, that when a woman is interested in you, she is going to get in touch with you. You don't have to worry about it, right? But by the fourth day, I hadn't heard from her. So in a moment of weakness and just loserdom, I texted her. I texted her like, oh, what's up? How's it going? I don't know, words to the effect, right? And she texts back, almost immediately. She's like, oh, I had a good time, but it's not really going to work out between us. And so, thanks for lunch and everything. And sorry I wasn't in touch, but it's not going to happen. And I was like, holy shit, okay, because most of the times when a woman is not really into you, she's gonna just basically ignore you, okay? And you're expected to take the hint, right? But to come out like that blatantly and saying, it's not gonna work out with you, I mean, that kind of goes to my point of saying that this girl had like an edge to her, right? Which made her interesting because, not that many girls have that kind of edge, or at least not the ones that I was in touch with or had any kind of relationship with. So anyway, I got this message and I was sort of like taken aback. And so, in my idiocy, right? Instead of just, I had to just scratch at this itch, right? I just had to, right? Like a fucking fool. And, or like a fool because I opened myself up, because I texted her back, trying to be as cool as possible, and deliberately taking 5-10 minutes before I responded, okay, just to settle down. I texted her back I thought that we had really connected and all the rest of it. And then I asked, was there anything specifically that I'd done? Which is a fucking mistake, okay? I asked that in the fucking text. Was there something that I'd done or something like that? And she replied, oh man, Jesus, man, what a fucking cunt, right? She replied words to the effect that, nothing you did, but when you kissed me in the parking lot or at the valet, I felt embarrassed, and I regretted that kiss afterwards. Fucking cunt. Yeah, so you're basically saying that she was embarrassed to have had any kind of physical contact with me and regretted it. Oh, god damn, man. I mean, son, if you want to kick somebody when they're down, that's the way to fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? Of course I was humiliated. Of course I didn't like it, right? I mean, now I'm laughing about it, and you'll understand why in just a second. But at that moment, I was fucking hurt, right? Because most women, most people, will never say something that nasty, okay? I mean, let me phrase it. Even this girl, in person, would never have said such a thing. She could only afford to do or say such a thing because it was via text, right? I mean, practically nobody, a vanishingly small minority of people, have the gumption to go up and say something like that to somebody's face, okay? Text, sure. In their face, no. It's like, the internet. It's like, when it's at a distance, via text, and you don't have to actually see the person or deal with the person, then you can say whatever the fuck, right? And case in point, she said that she was embarrassed that I'd kissed her and regretted it later. Fuck. Thank God this was via text, by the way, because I'm lousy at coming up with quick quick responses in the moment. I like everybody, Very few people are good at just like going right back at you that very second. I mean, very few people are that quick. I mean, very few people in the world, right? So of course, if this had been like in person, I would have been tongue-tied and me like, I'm retard, need help, right? But thank God this was via text. And thank God I'm a fucking writer, right? So I read this shit, right? And the little gears in my fucking brain, right? They are grinding because, I'm a fucking writer. I'm gonna nail this bitch, right? That's what I'm thinking, okay? And so how do I respond to her? Fair enough, I type back. I hope that you have a great life and that you do take care of that drinking problem. Send. What drinking problem? I don't have a drinking problem. Came the text back immediately. I mean, I'm talking like 2 minutes later, right? I don't have a drinking problem. What drinking problem? I don't have a drinking problem. Those were the two sentences of the exchange. That's the response I remember the most clearly. What drinking problem? I don't have a drinking problem. And I respond immediately saying, ha ha ha. You had 6 drinks in a 2-hour lunch, which was true. 6 glasses of wine in a 2.5-hour luncheon. And the fact of the matter is, she drank so much that I was thinking to myself as I walked her to her car, should she be getting in this car? But she seemed all right, which of course points to the fact that she probably did have an alcohol problem. So anyway, I say that to her. I say, you had ha ha ha, you had 6 drinks in 2 hours, you do have a drinking problem. I hope you take care of it, or words to that effect, right? She blocked me. She blocked the shit out of me. Yeah, because what probably happened? Yeah, she probably started to cry. Yeah? Now, do I feel bad about the fact that she probably started to cry, or at least felt miserable after she got that response? No, I don't feel a bit bad about it. Why? Because she was a nasty woman, right? And there are such women out there. Nasty women, okay? Nasty women who, they want to hurt your feelings. This girl, right? We went on the date. I gave her a kiss, I made it clear that I wasn't interested in just being friends and shit like that, right? And in her mind, for whatever reason, whatever legitimate and justified reason, she decided that she didn't want to see me anymore, pursue any kind of romantic thing with me, which is perfectly fine. I mean, sure, yeah. And then when I contacted her to find out what's what, which was a mistake on my part, but instead of just being, I've been very busy and I'll try to catch you next week, which would have been the polite way of saying, forget about it, buddy, it's not going to happen. No, she comes at me with this shit that she had felt embarrassed to kiss me and regretted it. What the fuck does that tell you about her? She wanted to hurt my feelings for whatever reasons of her own. She wanted to stick it to me, puncture my ego, and puncture it rather viciously if you think about it. I mean, it's nasty to say that to anybody, man or woman, to say that you're embarrassed to kiss her, or you felt embarrassed to have been kissed by somebody. That is fucking cruel. She was a nasty woman. And the fact of the matter is, she's not the only nasty woman I've met in my life. Yeah, there are more than a few out there. Okay, I mean, if I had to guess, like percentage-wise, a good 15 to 20%. No kidding. Yeah, women who will sometimes go out of their way to really stick it to you. Sometimes they decide to stick you because they have problems of their own. Okay, I mean, they have serious problems. And in the case of this woman, to tell you the honest truth, the fact that she had drunk so much in our luncheon, I was kind of surprised. I'm not a big drinker, right? And the fact of the matter is, in my own family, nobody really drinks. And so the fact that she, just calmly and not like, chugging it down, but just like casually, calmly wound up having five drinks. I mean, I know it was 5 drinks because we had rounds. There were 5 rounds, and we both had a glass of wine. And you know, I remember like the 4th round, I hadn't really finished my glass, and she was wanting another round. Okay. And I was like, sure, you know, but, you know, I hadn't really thought about it at the time, and the conversation was very stimulating. We had a good time. It was a fun luncheon. I mean, I don't regret the luncheon itself, right? But I'm getting off topic here. Nasty women, often as not, are going to have problems, serious problems. And the nastiness is not necessarily inherent to them. The nastiness a lot of times is a problem, or a product rather, of the fact that they are screwed up, that they are damaged. Remember one of my most famous videos, you know, recognize damaged girls. Yeah. How many? I got like 1.2 million views on that video. It's pretty goddamn funny if you think about it, but the point is true. See, there are a lot of damaged girls out there, and a lot of them express their damage, their fucked upness, by way of being nasty. Okay, and so, you know, to the list of qualities I said as to how to identify a damaged girl, nastiness is usually one of them. Okay, I mean, there are very few people on this earth, male or female, who are inherently and by nature nasty. Okay, it's a very, very rare thing. Most of the time, people who are nasty because they have some serious psychological problem. I mean, they are fucked up. And they express their fucked upness by deliberately trying to hurt other people. Yeah, because ultimately that's what nasty people are. They are people who go out there to hurt others. They are going out there to hurt other people, and you know, you can feel compassion for them. You can feel compassion for them, and you can be understanding of them. And say to yourself, yeah, this person is nasty probably because they have some problem in their life, you know, who knows what, you know. I mean, this girl, she drank like a fish. So what does that tell you? Yeah, she probably had some fucked up upbringing or some shit like that. I mean, she was only like, I think she was like 23 or 24, right? And so she probably had some nasty upbringing or what have you, problems. I mean, she did tell me that her parents had divorced and her mother had remarried. You know, stepfather. The stepfather issue, oh, you know what happened there. You know, some kind of abuse or some creepy ass shit going on that might not have been an actual, you know, incident of abuse, but that low level, low intensity, but constant creepiness of the stepfather lusting after the stepdaughter. Come on, what the fuck do you think happened to this girl? She was fucked up. And it expressed itself in her nastiness. It expressed itself towards me, who was blameless, right, with this very nasty text message. When you deal with a nasty girl, with a nasty woman, okay, what you have to do is very simple. The easiest way to go about it is to just ignore them and move on and just leave them in your wake. That's the easiest, and it's the most sensible. Whatsoever they may say to you, okay, unless you, like in my case, have the perfect opportunity to get back at them, and I did, okay? I mean, I had the perfect opportunity because this whole shit was via text, and so I had the time to think clearly what I wanted to say and then say it back to her, knowing that it would like hit her right where it hurts, right? Unless you have that golden opportunity, which is rare, ignore her. Ignore the nasty girl and just move on, okay? Whatever she says at you, and it'll be really hurtful. I mean, she's gonna go after shit that really, really chaps your ass, right? You just ignore her. There's no point in you having a fight. And certainly don't be dumb enough to start like throwing insults or some shit like that. Yeah, because if you start calling some nasty woman like a cunt, a bitch, a whore, or this, that, the other, that's kind of like what they want. They want to bring out the ugliness of you so that they can feel that they are superior to you. They want to get a rise out of you, a reaction out of you, so that they are the winner in their own mind, right? The reason this girl probably was a puddle on the floor after the message is that she knows at heart that she is an alcoholic, and I pointed it out, and I didn't come across as angry in the text messages. Yeah? That's what must have hurt her, okay? But what she really wanted was for me to yell at her, to yell at her and say, oh, you're a cunt, or you're a bitch, or you're not worth it, or some shit like that, to validate herself, to make herself feel better. To make herself feel better, because at heart she is like a wounded animal. She was wounded, she is damaged, and she can't be cured of her damage. She's fucked up. And that's why she needs to inflict pain on others. You realize you're with a nasty woman, that you're dating a nasty woman, you start to realize that she is like damaged, right? And that she has like this cruel streak in her heart. Leave her. No good can come of it, because she's gonna be nasty towards you. She's gonna go after you, okay? And it might be lovey-dovey at some point, or during the courtship or what have you, but if you start to realize that there's this cruelty in a woman, a cruelty born out of pain and misery and damage, that shit is only gonna get worse. It's gonna fester, okay? It's gonna fester and it's gonna get worse. And it's sad, but it's the truth, okay? The fact that this girl that I dated, right, and the one date, drinking like a fish, right, and flinging this nasty, nasty insult whose only purpose was to hurt me, to puncture my ego, to make me feel miserable about myself. Yeah? What the fuck? What the fuck you think is going on with such a poor girl? To tell you the truth, this is several years after the fact, I feel compassion for her, I feel sorry for her, but I fucking despise her, and I'm glad that she's in my rearview mirror. I am glad that what I have is a funny story that I'm telling you, as opposed to having had a horrifying relationship with a nasty, nasty woman.